to the May meeting of the Plymouth Community School Board. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Opening and setting of agenda. And I'll just remind everybody, this is our meeting in public. We will have an opportunity for audience participation coming up. Are there any changes or additions to the agenda?
Nope.
Nope. All right. If hearing no changes, I would accept a motion to approve. So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Audience participation. Are there members of the audience that would like to speak to any agenda items tonight? All right. Moving on. Personnel introduction.
Yes, I would like, Michael Delp is here to introduce our new football coach, so I'll give it over to Michael.
Thank you. Board, I'd like to, I know I walked him around, but I'd like to introduce our football coach. Unfortunately, the last board meeting when he was approved, he was enjoying a well-deserved vacation with his family. And so that was their spring break down in Walnut. So we're excited to have him, and I'm going to have him stand up and say a few things.
Appreciate you guys giving this opportunity. My family and I are extremely excited to be here. Obviously, they're actually taking another trip. They're in Arizona right now, so they're enjoying a 95-degree day down in Arizona. But we're happy to be up here in Plymouth and excited to get rolling. Thanks.
Welcome. Happy to have you.
Yeah.
Are there others?
We're going to do that later.
All right, consent agenda. Are there any items that anyone would like to pull out of the consent agenda? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So move.
Is there a second? Second. All right. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed no. Motion carries. Okay. Item 3, business transactions. 3.1, consider Plymouth High School principal appointment.
Yes, the committee to search for the next high school principal was formed after Jen Felke left to become the new CPE coordinator. The group sorted through 15 applications and chose to interview 5 in round 1, then chose 2 of those 5 for a second round. After the second round of interviews, the committee unanimously chose Jacob Singleton as the next leader for Plymouth High School. Jacob has served his entire career here at Plymouth, starting in 2012 as a social studies teacher, and moving on in 2017 to teach in WSOI, and finally serving the last 3 years as the assistant principal at Lincoln Junior High. Jacob stood out among all of the candidates with his relentless passion for helping students achieve and his compassion towards staff members. Jacob will be a fantastic addition to the tremendous tradition Plymouth High School has created throughout the years, and therefore I highly recommend Jacob Singleton as principal of Plymouth High School. And Jacob, if you want to say a few words.
Do you want to?
Well, let's go ahead.
So move.
Okay, is there a second? Second. All right, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Now.
I just want to say thank you to Mr. Mayhorter and Mr. Andreesh and the committee. Really excited. Also want to thank current principal, Mr. Galt. He's helped me a lot grow in my capacity, so I couldn't be without him and our staff at Lincoln. So I'm really excited to get going in high school. So thank you.
Excited to have you.
We're happy, yes, we're very happy. All right, anybody have any questions? No? All right. Okay, item 3.2, accept solar project bids and agreements.
So Bruce Reedon from Telemon is here to discuss the bid process conducted last week, and then we would like to recommend the approval of the winning bid. So,
Good evening. I think Dave's going to start real quick.
So we accepted bids on April 26th, and we were able to receive 3 bids for the solar array procurement project, which would be at Riverside Intermediate and Washington Elementary Schools. We had 3 bids, which one was a GRNE Solar and a combined bid of $1,788,000. The next bid was from Martel Electric in the amount of $1,452,630 for the combined bid. And Solar Energy Systems, we received a bid from them at $1,308,405.18. That was for the combined bid, which, Bruce, we're going to go back and look at this from a value engineering standpoint.
We'll immediately start 2 steps if the board approves tonight. One is to do some value engineering. Solar Systems offered by getting both projects, they are open to discussion of a reduction in their total overall fee. They have 2 other value engineering suggestions that our engineers will meet with them along with Dave and invite Candy to attend also, which we will immediately work at lowering the overall price. We're under budget. Your budget that you passed was 1.5 altogether, and they came in under budget, and so we're very happy with that. Brian and Dave are here from the company tonight. The second step we'll start on immediately is I sent to Mitch and to Dave the blank or sample AIA contract that we normally use. They'll have that reviewed by your school board's attorney. We'll also have Solar Systems review it, make any changes, which there's always 1 or 2 or 3 changes that we make in it. That's why we offer the sample one to look at first. And then we'd like your permission tonight, instead of waiting a month until they can order material. It's very timely, especially with the way panel prices are going right now. And so we'd like your permission tonight to grant Superintendent Mitch the okay to sign contracts for this contract so that we can move forward and they can order material as soon as possible instead of waiting until your next meeting. Are there any questions?
So I would recommend the approval of Solar Energy Systems to complete the solar project as presented by Bruce and Tenemon. And like he said, or if there are any documentations that I would be allowed to go ahead and sign those so that we can get off and running.
Okay.
Can I have one other comment I should have before? And I thought we had it on the screen, but it's not there. So we do evaluate all 3 bids, and Solar not only was the money the lowest, but also their bids were the highest. And so all 3 bidders were scored very high by our engineers. They were very professional in their approach. But Solar had the highest score in addition to the lowest money.
We have that in our packet.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So moved.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion or questions for the gentleman? Any of the gentlemen are here? Thank you for attending. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I didn't want to tell you guys, if you have other places to go, you are
Now would be a good
welcome.
time.
We'd love to have you stay for the
Thank
whole
you.
meeting.
Appreciate it.
All right. Item 3.3, consider NIESC Fiscal Services Agreement.
Yeah, this contract continues our relationship as the LEA with our service center. I appreciate the work Candy and her staff has done as the LEA, and I also appreciate the goodwill that I believe that this causes us to have with the service center. So I recommend the approval of the contract between NESIC and PCSC.
Okay. Further recommendations, is there a motion? So moved. Is there a second? Second. All right. Any discussion or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 3.4, consider K-12 curricular material fees for 22-23.
Yes, so we had an adoption this year of math materials. And we are always trying to figure out the best way so that parents don't get stuck with large bills. So I discussed a lot with Josh Martin, who's helped. The high school has the largest amount of material that we have to review. And then after we looked at it and considered, we are allowed to charge up to 25% of the original cost of the textbook. We chose not to do that because our books are adopted for 6 years. So what we did was we took the original cost and divided it by 6. And I think that's the fairest way to charge for these adoptions. And I put the formula in there, so from here on out, hopefully it'll be carried out that way. And the only things you can't do that with are consumables. But other than that, I recommend that you approve as presented for K-8 and 9 through 12.
All right, you've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Are there any questions or is there any discussion? I appreciate the way you divvied that up. That makes the most sense.
Yes. We trust your common sense.
Yeah. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item 3.5, consider permission to hire.
Yeah, each year, different teaching needs for the corporation arise, and I would like to address those upcoming needs with the positions presented in your information packet. I recommend the approval of the permission to hire information as presented.
You all received that information in your packet.
So moved.
All right, is there a second? Second. All right. Any discussion or questions for Mitch?
Can you talk us through why these positions?
I could. Just let me get to. So, and Ken can help you with some of the high school stuff, but math, we had a temporary position last year, but there would be a need of about 10 sections.
Yes.
If we didn't make that a full-time teacher.
That's correct.
And so we wanted to add that. Athletic performance instructor. We also have a lot of kids that are taking PE, and we want this person to be able to teach PE, but we also have a need for someone who's actually going to take over the weight training in the weight room and do it more throughout the year rather than just during the season. So we wanted to add that position as well. Agriculture, another growing thing that is also a CTE course, so that means that it's reimbursable by the state through CTE. And so we see that growing, and we want to get ahead of it rather than wait until it's out of hand because the lack of agriculture teachers. So that was kind of the thought behind that. Reed has a lot more elective positions in the beginning of the day and not as many at the end of the day. So we wanted to add halftime PE as an elective there so that they would not have large class sizes in the end of the day. And also with that, we want this position to kind of dovetail with that athletic performance instructor so that they're kind of starting that in junior high and then those kids are moving on and doing it in the high school. That position is also Brody, his position. He was a classified staff last year. This brings him back into the teaching world, and then he would get that the raise that he kind of missed out on, plus he would get to teach and still do his athletic coordinating. And then social studies, moving back to a temporary position to a permanent, just again, need of body there in that situation to make sure our numbers don't go crazy on us. Jill, would you like to talk about the EL facilitator position through ESSER?
Sure, and I can.
You kind of take the rest of them.
Yeah. Right now, we're preparing for our future allocations for our grants, whether it's Title I, Title III, which is for EL students, NESP, and special education, and those are all based off of the numbers of students in those particular identification codes. And as we look to the state requirements, especially in the area of EL and English language learners, and then putting caps on the number of students that can be on a teacher of record list, we are trying to ensure that we were prepared for that in case we have to grow that number. Licensures in the EL area are limited in general, so we're going to have a lot of support, and so that's why the facilitator coach position may be necessary, so that we can ensure our teachers who are supporting EL students receive their licensure to be able to do TOR. Our kindergarten numbers as enrollment right now, after kindergarten roundup, are higher than usual. And so if we go back to back data where we have enrollment numbers increasing usually in the month of July, if that were to take place, following that trend, we would need to grow the number of sections in kindergarten. That same goes to the child find in pre-K, which is our 3-year-old group, and we're anticipating larger numbers. So there may be, again, because there's state requirements with the number of students per teacher, and so if the numbers lend itself close to July, that we would need to have an additional certified teacher.
Special ed, did you say special ed teacher?
The special ed teacher, as well as we look at some of our cohorts or groups of kids with the TOR, trying to maintain numbers in that need. So, yeah, it's just a free-end team trying to be preemptive instead of coming to do last minute.
Any other questions? No. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. 3.6, proposed addition and changes to PCSC Student Handbook K-12 for 22-23, the moment we've all been waiting for.
Ken is here to update us on the student handbook. We're going to make this informational at this point because we still have some changes to make, and they were kind of significant, so we kind of wanted to let you know what's going on, but then recommend it hopefully at the next meeting.
Thank you. We've been meeting at all levels, so the elementary has met, the junior high, Riverside, us, and we met as a corporation group last week and went over it. So I was just going to kind of go through the major. There's always minor changes, like spelling. I don't know how many times we've gone through with the English teachers, and every year they find more grammar errors even after they've corrected the ones they found the year before. And we're working on it. We updated the club sponsors class list. Anytime teachers are mentioned, if a teacher has left, we change those things. So, major changes. The first thing Mitch alluded to is the state has passed this new e-learning law with the 3 days and the synchronous, asynchronous, and all that. So due to those changes, we obviously are going to be discussing that as a corporation. So we wanted to put a note in there to the parents to say, we're going to possibly make some changes going forward. We want you to be aware of that. So we took out all the current language and replaced it with just a placeholder for now. Due to recent changes in state law, PCSC will be updating our e-learning day language prior to the start of the 2023 school year. We appreciate your patience as we discuss these changes. We've got the policy that will benefit students at all grade levels. And again, because this goes into the registration packet, right, and they sign off it, and we'll start that maybe before we get all that language set. We want them to be aware. Then some things that are kind of big and minor. It said parents must sign students in or out, right, which the committee felt means parents think they got to come in and actually sign something as opposed to call the school, identify you need your student to leave and let them leave. So we just changed that language to parents and guardians must notify the school if their student will be leaving. Updated list of recommendations for vaccinations to follow state guidelines, including the recommendation of COVID-19 vaccinations and not the requirement of it, which matches what the state put out in March. MCV4 vaccine information will now include individuals who received one dose or dose one on or after their 16th birthday only need one dose of MCV4, which that was updated to show. We put in that students with email should check their email every day. And if you say it 500 times, the committee felt we should put it in the handbook too. Hopefully that'll help with that. For Riverside, they had an addendum about the buses, and it says students are expected to follow the rules set forth by the Transportation Department as well as all school expectations, and they took out the previous transportation language. Work permits, as of July 1st of last year, which is after we put the handbook together, the state changed it. Students no longer come to the school to get their work permit from us. It goes directly from their employer to log into the state website and do all of that. So we just changed it to reflect that. It's been an interesting change in some ways. We probably have less idea of who's working where than we did in the past. We thought we had more before. So, but other than that, I think it's worked pretty well. It's streamlined the process at least. Removed language about I step into the GQE because there are no more. And now students, as you know, will take SAT. And then removed information on the GQE wherever it showed up. And then the last one is we're meeting on June 1st with Nelson Chipman, and he has a new assistant who's helping with attendance in the county. He's going to meet with our schools. They sent us an information packet of kind of some ideas about attendance and initiative for attendance they're going to have. We had some questions. We reached out. They're coming in June 1st. We're going to meet, and so we put some more placeholder that we'll be meeting in June to review attendance and make sure that what we're saying matches up to what the county prosecutors are saying in terms of if we get to the point that we have to have a parent go before the courts, we want to make sure we're in line with what they want. And that they clarify some, we have some questions about things and we'll clarify those. So that would be the other piece that we would see after that meeting. That's it.
Okay. So it's just
Just information this time, and we'll try to get it hopefully next time.
Yes.
So yeah, actually.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot, Jen.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. Item 4, monthly remarks.
So I would like to thank the hiring committee for their effort in the principal search. They were Manette Edmiston, Laura Unsicker, Laura Pryor, Jill Van Driesch, John Johnson, and Jim Conlon. So they put a lot of work into that. So hats off for all the things that they did. Also, I would like to thank all the individuals or businesses who made donations to the robotics club at the Lincoln Junior High. Total amount $6,640 is greatly appreciated by staff and students. Congratulations to the Board of Trustees for being recognized at the recent ISBA region meeting. Also, individually, Ali Shook was singled out for an award at the meeting, so congratulations to all. Been pleasantly surprised by the number of local scholarships given out to our students. This is kind of something new for me, coming from a smaller school. It has been a great deal of fun to be a part of the different groups and then dole out money to all of these worthy students. Congratulations on a successful prom. It is nice to be able to have these types of events in normal settings once again. Darlene and I, my wife, attended the Ag Awards this past Sunday. Our Ag program continues to grow, and it's exciting to see the kids get recognized. This Friday and Saturday is the spring musical, The Addams Family. I look forward to watching our talented entertainers on stage. And for Larry, the next meeting is June 7th.
Anybody have any questions for Rich? All right. Item 5.1, audience participation. Are there any items that an audience member would wish to discuss? Seeing none, I would move on to 6.1, adjournment. Is there a motion? So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion carries. Thank you all for attending. Appreciate it.
Make, will be